Okay. So, okay, so good. I think it's good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing great. So thanks so much, sir. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful for having you here. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
How's it going?
It's going well. You know, while I was reading your profile, I think I just remembered why I gave the topic. One of the reasons I gave the topic was because of I saw how you started up as just passion, and then he started with just startup, and then suddenly it just became an organization. I felt like young people have to listen to you, so as well learn from your experience and your knowledge.
Interesting. Yeah. It's very interesting how things happen. You know, but it's what can I say? You know, you learn a lot on the job, and you learn a lot when you try different things. So I think that's the opportunity that I have had to benefit from those experiences.
Wow. Okay, so I think we're officially giving the floor to Mr. Ibrahim to take over, and then we're going to be learning. I have my pen and my book with me here, so I'm ready to jot some.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So, first of all, I think I'll start with, for me, I'm very good doing interactions rather than just
exactly.
I you know, when you talk with someone and just have a conversation. So I think first things first is to, the topic is pretty, I don't want to say broad, but pretty interesting. It's about how one builds himself up in terms of self-development. Now, there are different perspectives which we can talk about self-development, and more importantly, I think there are a number of experiences that we all get, going through everything. So I think I'll start by maybe letting you ask me a few questions.
Yes, sure.
And we'll pick up from there.
No problem. I have a lot of questions, actually. A whole lot of questions, because I was waiting for this day. I have a lot of questions. I have also young people have given me questions too as well. So, when I looked at your profile and I read it well, and I was really surprised at the fact that, you all started out with just like, you just liked something, and then suddenly you gave it structure. And one of the things I discovered in young people's life, like we have, is the fact that we don't know how to actually build things from just an idea to a place of execution. So the first question I would actually want to ask is, how did you start? And how did you actually think that you were able to actually give structure to your idea, or you're able to give structure to your passion? How?
Okay, I think everything started from childhood, when my father used to teach me, or used to teach us a lot, right? Like he always was very interested in seeing how we were doing as kids, and always brought about a different, will I call it a puzzle or a challenge to us all the time. How do you learn how to play Scrabble? How do you play with Lego? All the odd things that, things I would just took for granted that are like toys and things like that. I mean, growing up in a city like Zaria and having access to a computer when nobody knew what that was, So that was something. That was something that I think that was the start for us in terms of coming down to structure. I mean, just having that opportunity to learn a lot. So, having said that, I think one of the biggest advantages for us is that we started early. So, typically, starting up or when you're young, your parents want you to. Sorry, I'm just trying to adjust the screen.
Okay.
Aha. I look better. I hope I look fine. Okay. so, I mean, starting up at the beginning, starting up really early helped because I think the first opportunity I had at business was at the age of, I think, 15 years old. I was still in secondary school, and my aunt in Zaria, my late aunt, we were living in Lagos then, and my late aunt used to grow grapes, and it was very interesting that they were looking for a market to sell the grapes, and they decided to send some to Lagos. So I was tasked with looking for customers, almost like marketing, and we had not really tasks like that, but just follow up on this, follow up on that. So we went to a few supermarkets. One of them was Park and Shop at, if anyone knows Lagos very well, Park and Shop in Lagos at opposite the Ikeja Cantonment. That was one of the first Park and Shops that opened. That Ilupeju and I think somewhere in Apapa or something like that. So that's how I got to meet people, and I got to meet the owner, the person that started Park and Shop, and that was the person I was dealing with. So, we had to be organized because grapes, if you spend one day, if you lose one day, your grapes can spoil. So, straight from the farm, they're loaded into card boxes, and holes are put in them. They take them to the Kaduna airport, then fly them to Lagos. We go to the airport, pick them up, bring them to the house, resort them, and now take them to deliver them to the stores where they put them on the shelf. So you really had to be organized to do that, and I think that was the first opportunity I had in working or doing something where you had very little supervision, and every day or every hour you waste, you lose out on fresh produce. So I think that was for me the start of that process.
Wow. I don't know. I think I'm going to actually understand why it was like that, because of I don't know. I keep going back to your profile. So I just felt like how did this man ever think that it could give structure to his idea, because of it's so normal for me. When I started, I thought I was very young, so I thought that I was being proud to actually give structure to my idea. So maybe you don't have to really do great things as a young person. You just have to just be like that, and then we having to see the story behind this, it's really surprising. So the next question is this: how did you how will I even put it now? I'm trying to find how to place it well. When did you realize that you needed to actually build, and then when did you start building yourself in the area of actually building your connection, like building the organization? So what did you think you needed to do, and what were you doing to actually get yourself to that place where you thought you wanted to be?
That's a very powerful question for us. As in, where do you start from to answer this question? Okay, let me put it this way. As organized as we think we are, or as organized as I think I am, I still feel that I'm just starting.
Wow.
I'm on the journey. So everything is a process, and it's a journey. And every experience is different. So let's say this. I'll still go back to my parents. My older brother Mohammed. I learned a lot from him, my cousins, friends, people around. There was a book that my dad gave to my brother. It was called A Fate Worse Than Death. It was written by a lady called Susan George. Now, trust me, I don't read. If I read a novel or a book, it used to take me like a year to read one novel. Up until even 5 years ago, it still took me a year to read a novel. So if you ask me how many books I've read, I think maybe like 5 or 10. But that was one of the most interesting books that I ever read, because it was talking about how countries got into debt, the kind of challenges they had, and so many things. Really, really, I don't want to call it a strange book, but just very, very revealing for someone my age to read that. So my dad gave the book to my brother gave the book to my cousin gave the book back to my brother gave me the book, and I read it, right? And it was my dad's friend that gave that book to him. So after reading that book, I was in my final year in secondary school. So half of it I probably didn't understand. So what happened? I read the book, and my only conclusion and takeaway from that book, after I saw how different countries went into debt, how they borrowed money, they couldn't spend the money right, and they are now forever slaves to the various financial institutions around the world. I said to myself that I never want to be in that situation. I think that was the first time that that was the first time for me that it really that book really shaped my worldview to things. And one of the things and again, early on, when I finished secondary school, there was for those of us in Nigeria, I'm sure everyone is familiar with ASU strike.
Yeah.
ASU is the university, the senior lecturers or something, academic staff union of Nigeria and stuff. So I finished secondary school, and I had to stay at home for 1.5 years waiting to get into university because of ASU strike. There was a terrible period that people sat at home for almost 2 years.
Wow.
And that it affected us in getting into university. So by the time I finished school, my dad met some very interesting fellows, and they were like 24, 25 years old, and they were running their own business.
Wow.
The guy's name is Mohammed Sani and Marcus Usu. They had a company in Ilupeju in Lagos called Hansi Systems. So my dad met them and said, "You need to meet my kids. I think they can learn a lot from you." So they came over to the house, met with us. We sat down, looked at each other. Okay, nice guys, young chaps. They're running their own business. They were into computing. So I was like, out of curiosity, I said, "Hey, can I come check out your office?" He said, "Yeah, sure, come anytime." Went to his office, saw it, and I was like, "Wow, this is so cool. Can I work with you guys?" He said, "Yeah, sure, you can come and work." And that was how I got my sort of first opportunity to work in some kind of structured environment. It was a small business. They were doing okay. They were selling computers and stuff like that. And that was really how I started understanding structure. And that was long before I got into university, because I worked with them for, I think, almost a year.
Wow.
During the strike.
Yes. Wow. Now this is really powerful, This is really powerful. So the next question is this. Next question. What mindset were you having? Like, I'm in University of Lagos now, and then I look at young people.
Akoka is an akoka. Conversation is over. Don't let University of people get on this call at all.
So when I see young people, because I observe a lot. So in my department, I look at people when they sit down and I'm wondering, how are they thinking? What's their mentality? What's their mindset? Because I believe every successful man has a mindset. Their brain is structured in a way. So, so the question is this: how was your brain structured while you were doing all of these things? What was the structure of your brain? Did you think that you thought, oh, life would just happen by itself, and then, or were you very intentional about what you wanted to become?
I think again, for me, it was just I had some very interesting people around me, like my brother, for example, who was already in university, and he had a plan, so to speak. I think that really helped a lot, because we were looking at. I mean, I was able to see. I mean, I wasn't like the typical kid that just played, and I used to play a lot. Trust me, I played a lot. I wasn't good in school. I used to fail exams and stuff. So I wasn't most. I don't want to say I wasn't most serious of students when it came to academics, and not because I was a ruffian or anything. It was just the way it was. I had my own challenges learning. However, I think early on, again, maybe because of that whole, they'll say, that gap year of sitting down at home and meeting different people, it helped in just it was sort of like a mentorship, or a kind of role model to look up to say, okay, I had the opportunity of meeting someone that was like 25, 26 years old, and he was running his business. I mean, these guys could barely grow beards then, when they were running their own thing, and they were their own bosses. So for me, that was like, by the time I was getting into university, my mind was already set in terms of what I wanted to do. I mean, I look at some of my guys now, my guys I was in university with, and we still talk about it today. When everyone was in school going to parties, we were doing other things like hustling and trying one or two things. And so for me, that was what worked for me. However, guess what? Because I thought that was the right way, does not mean it is. It's good to socialize. It's good to experience university. It's good for not you to just go through university, but university to also go through you. You need to explore. I mean, that's how you get to ask the right questions and understand that it's not just about having a type of street smartness or being academically smart. You need to experience everything all around, which will shape you as a human being. So sometimes one of the things is that different people have different journeys. So you may be in university and you absolutely don't know what you want to do, right? Or have zero direction. And you'll be surprised that by the time you're out, you'll be more focused and achieve more than the most serious of people. Everybody's path is different. And there's one song my friend keeps reading by Baz Luhrmann. It's called Sunscreen. It was a tribute song to the class of '95 in the US, and it just said that sometimes you don't know what you want to do at 20 years, or at 20 years you don't know what you want to do with your life. And the guy says even some 40-year-olds today I interact with still don't know what they want to do with their lives. So, like I said, the path to being organized or knowing what you want comes for people at different points in time, or different points in their lives.
Wow. I know this is very simple, and it's progressive, going progressive, very powerful. Thank you so much. I would tell young people what it is really, for those who are about to get into university and for those in university right now. So the next question is, when do you think is the right time to be tired with just doing your passion? So like, oh, it's my passion, I just love to do it, and then that's all they want to do. When it's the right time to step up from just doing what you think you love to do and making it, something big?
Never stop loving what you do. There's never a right time. So how do I put it? In everything you do, no matter what you try to do, in everything you do, a job, this, that, you have to take everything serious. You have to bring your passion into it, right? So that is what is going to drive your growth, into whatever you are doing. So that's what I'll say is the right thing to do. Again, like I say, I'm looking at myself and looking back at the years and stuff. There's never a right time, but your passion, right, is what will determine whether you enjoy what you do. And it's always very important that no matter what you are doing, you enjoy it, because that is what will keep you going at it. So for me now, I'm running, Delali, and we're setting up Delali. It's been a tough journey, right, to even start up, to connect with my co-founders who are in different parts of the world, just even shaping the idea of what we're trying to do. But all these things if there's one thing I've seen consistently since I started working, is the fact that, no matter what, put your passion into it, even if it's not yours. Because everything you do will be like, how do I put it? Every business you work in, or every organization you work for, the way you treat it is exactly the way you treat yours when it's your time.
Wow.
Yeah.
I need to write this.
Just hold on a second. Just give me a second.
Wow. 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 So the other question I want to ask is this. There are different components that make up great men. So they get experiences from different places. So they're not just fixed, they're flexible, with what I understand. Successful people are very flexible. They don't just feel like I should be doing this. And so they learn from different areas, and different things make them up and everything. So now for someone who let's say someone likes to speak, and all they do is to go out and speak for people, and they don't think it's to actually make it profitable or maybe monetize it. So they're asking that. So they're asking, when do I know is the right time to monetize what I love to do? When do I know is the right time to monetize what I love to do? So maybe for some, they feel like, I don't want to monetize it, I just love to do it, I just love to do it. But so they're asking. People are saying, but give it something, earn from it. Like, if I earn from it, I don't know how to do it. So how do young people start coming to that realization of, okay, I think I need to start monetizing this. I think I need to start doing this to make this.
Okay, so that's a very good question, because I also faced that challenge when starting, because you see, you don't know when to change a hobby into a business.
Exactly.
Right? And you always feel that you are never good enough. Or you feel that you are never ready. Jump into the ocean. So, like, when I started, I'll give you an example. The web started. We started with the internet, right? The first websites that I built commercially, I built only one website.
Wow.
Right? And I'd never done it before. Although it was new then, I just learning how to do it, right? And it started out as go and train. I went to I don't even know how I linked up with the company. I can't remember, but I met this company and they said, oh, they wanted to use the internet for their cocoa trading, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, sure. They needed to connect to the internet. I should come and train the secretary how to use search engines to search and stuff like that. So that's how I started. Then while talking about that, or while doing that training, the whole concept of, oh, you may need a website. Can you do it? My answer was yes. Do I know how to do it? In my mind, the answer was maybe, right? But you never turn down, especially if you have some skill in that thing, never say no. I'll give you another example. There's one of our businesses called .txt. I was running it with two of my very good friends, Mohammed and Abdul, in Abuja. And one of the things that we wanted to do was SMS. It was SMS, an SMS-based thing, right? And what happened was we had prepared proposals. Again, hobby, just sitting on the computer out of, that whole thing of sheer need of trying new things. I started playing around on the computer. We found SMS and we thought, oh, we can send web SMS, blah, 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 blah. And that's how it started. Next thing, they got in, we got a request. We prepared a proposal. Again, how to prepare proposals, share interest. We prepared the proposal and sent it to a couple of companies. And all of a sudden, a company called us and said, we need to send 1 million messages in the next 3 days. Are you guys interested in doing this or not? And we're like, yes. So come to our office at 7 p.m. I said, but it's 7 p.m. They said, do you want this job or not? We said, yes. We got to the office, met with the head of technology. We need to send out messages, blah, 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 blah. We said, good, no problem. Can you give us 1 minute? We just need to discuss. They said, yeah, sure. We negotiated the price. We had an idea of the price. We now said, okay, we're going to do the job. We came back in and said, yes, the price is okay. We're doing it. Says, okay, fine. Here are the numbers. Here's the message. Start tomorrow. We said, no problem. We'll start tomorrow. We got out. The meeting lasted about 30 minutes. We got out at 7:30 p.m. or 7:35. We stood outside after accepting the job, right? That was when we asked ourselves, how are we going to do it? They did not give us a mobilization. We were new. We didn't have, they wanted us to start with 100,000 visitors. We didn't have the connection to even send the SMS. We had not even purchased the SMS. Our platform had not been set up yet. Let's put it that way. We had not set up the platform at all. Right? And we needed to send it the next day. And it was a Thursday night that we got the offer. And we were meant to start sending on Friday. Right? We could have said no. And this was like, again, it was a hobby. It was something that we were just trying. Okay, let's try this, let's try that. Guess what? When you are pushed to the edge like that, you find a solution.
Wow. And
you find a way. Let's put it this way. It turned out all right because we were able to deliver. And trust me, there are hacks to it. Guess what we did? I'm revealing some serious trade secrets here. So the only thing that we had was just we had something like a web interface that we could send one message, 1 or 2 messages. Now, the broadcast of the SMSs, we did not have the platform set up at all. Guess what we did? We took the head of IT's number, took some other people's numbers, listed like maybe 20 or 30, just took some random numbers, and we started sending SMS manually, one after the other. We're sending pam, pam, pam. That was the next day in the morning. We still had not figured out how we were still running around trying to set everything up. I was just sending. My other guy was calling this, we're calling India, we're calling UK, this, that, and negotiating until we got the deal done. Then in the evening, we started sending messages.
Wow.
But the person said they wanted it in the morning. We didn't even know that this client had embedded his number in every 1,000 numbers to know whether we were going to send everything.
Wow.
Yep. So that is one of the experiences. So to answer your question, where do I turn my hobby into a business is, again, it all depends on you and what you want to do. So for example, an artist may say, my art is my art. I'm not doing it for commercial reasons, right? But you still have to eat. You have to survive, right? Where are you going to get that from? Are you going to get it from a 9-to-5 job? Or are you going to get it from, your hobby? The best kind of business is your hobby or what you love to do.
Wow.
So if you can now sit down and say, okay, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I do it for fun. Why not I get paid for it? So you hear that one of the most successful, there's this, all these food delivery services that are all around. Now, some parts of the world, some people use bicycles to ride and everything. The most successful one of the most successful ones on, I'm not sure if it's Bolt Food or one of these food delivery services, makes about $8,000 a month.
Wow.
Right? When you look at some people that drive ride-hailing cars, some of them are doing it because they enjoy driving and they enjoy chatting with people. So it's no longer a job, but I enjoy enjoy driving. Okay, I have a car, I do this, and I get paid for doing what I enjoy. You never get tired of it. So the question of when to start is start immediately. Right? Start immediately, test it out. Test. This way doesn't work, try another way. The other way doesn't work, try it. You keep adjusting and testing until you get it right.
Wow, that's very detailed. Like that's very detailed. Wow, thank you so much. So I think the last question, is it the last question here? Second to the last, actually. Second to the last. Okay. Yeah, not the last question, actually. It's actually the last question. Okay. So, this is a very great point, and I think there is something in your heart that you want young people to know. So before we allow all speakers to leave and before we let them go, well, let's ask them, what is that thing they want young people to know? You've had experience with different people, you've had relationship with different people, and what's that thing you want young people to know? Like, in your heart, it's just very heavy in your heart, and you want young people to know.
Put yourself, I don't want to use the words because there's too much French in it. Get your stuff together, right? And enjoy the journey, right? Success comes, and what you define as success is very important. I think many people equate success to having a lot of money, driving big cars, and things like that. For me, I think my only advice is success can be peace of mind.
Wow.
That's what success is. And for you to be comfortable, and it takes time, right? Even me, luckily, again, I've been very lucky to have been connected to, or to have met great people, mentors that have helped in just calming me down. I wish I listened to them more. That's why I said at the end of the day, everybody's journey is different. Your mentors when people give you advice, especially, they don't want you to make the same mistakes that they made. And that's why they give advice, and advice is very powerful. I keep saying it all the time. Every time I have the opportunity to speak, I say advice is more valuable than money. Because there's one thing that money can never buy, that's time. So if you have the opportunity of meeting someone that is successful, and again, success is relative. Everyone is successful in one way or the other. And someone that is wise, they tell you, this is an experience, learn from it. Seriously, you should. Because it will reduce the time that you spend in trying to, in making that mistake and figuring it out. You know? So it's, for me, to every young person, it takes time. So when you hear all these success stories, oh, this person is successful, this and that, it's probably a 10 or 20-year journey. You know, it's not something that started overnight. When you hear, okay, everybody's like on startups, this, that, this company is selling for this, selling for that. If you hear their stories, where they started from, everyone talks about Paystack today, because Paystack was able to sell for $200 million, blah, 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 last year. I can remember when they were starting. You know, this was, I met Shola when? 2003, 2004? When Shola was in Gombe doing his NYSC, that he was reading computer books in Gombe State, the capital. No one remembers that. When he was working for the different companies that he worked for, nobody remembers that. 2003, he was still in Bangkok during his what do you call it? Is it industrial attachment, or when you go and do an internship and something like they call it today? Dude was hustling it out, right? How many years later? 15, 16, 17 years later? You know, and that's short compared to some other people whose journeys are 40 years longer or 50 years longer. You know, everyone talks about Apple today. Where did the inspiration for Apple or even Steve Jobs come from? I think he was in school and he dropped out. Where did he learn about fonts? He learned it in a class of calligraphy. And he knew that, okay, what was his? His was about finishing. It was about presentation. It was about ease of use. Everyone else, a computer had already been made, but he knew that it could be done better and differently. And today, look at how that company has evolved. It started in the 70s, right? But Apple did not really see its major success. Real success that they just exploded and started going up until after they went down and came back up. You know, so there's no one that does not have a story, right? So to a lot of young people, success may sound like an overnight thing, but it's not. It's a grind. And you know, maybe go and check statistically, maybe 10% of the time, the time, someone will make it in a very short period of time. But when you go back again and look at those stories, you see that they failed at many businesses. This is not my first business. I failed several times, you know, and every day we fail. But the only difference is that we learn from those failures and we move very quickly to solve those problems. So these are things that, there's still a lot, but I'll say to every young person out there, especially in university, it takes time.
Wow. This is a powerful moment for me. Very powerful moment for me, and then I really want to actually say a big thank you. I don't know why I'm saying big thank you, but it's a very big thank you for you for taking time out to actually be here today, and then the fact that you opened up deep things about your business, and then one of the things that will pay me is the fact that in my department, so I try to have like a 1-minute section with my department before class. So I tell them, don't think you're too small. Don't think that you don't need certain words, because of wisdom is what what makes people manage resources. Having abundance of resources really doesn't mean anything, but your wisdom. So your wisdom is what makes you manage those things. And some young people which I know will still not want to watch something like this without knowing that these are powerful things that people should listen to. And I want to say big thank you for this, because of you opened things that people pay you for, and you said these things. I want to say thank you.